Greetings, travelers, and welcome to the latest Tempo Wild meta snapshot for United in Stormwind. For once, we don't have too much new to report for the state of the Wild meta. The competitive field is fully settled around the 4 well-established top-tier decks, and Wild is in a holding pattern, waiting for the upcoming United in Stormwind mini-set. We don't expect much to change between now and the mini-set, but if you want the scoop on the best way to climb in the meantime, the Tempo Wild team still has you covered. Let's take a closer look. As we come to the end of the United in Stormwind meta, the competitive ladder has narrowed down to 4 extremely powerful decks in Tier 1. Questline Pirate Warrior, Odd Questline Hunter, Reno Evenlock, and Even Warlock. Of these, Pirate Warrior has become the most popular by an overwhelming margin, and that's especially true on the climb from Diamond ranks to Legend. Pirate Warrior now fills the niche held by Secret Mage in previous expansions, where it's the reality check that any deck has to come to terms with in order to be successful. Not only is it one of the most relentless board-based aggro decks we've ever seen, but it also has access to an infinite value late game with Captain Rokara and the Juggernaut. Its extreme power cuts many classic Wild decks out of viability, but at the same time, of all of the top decks that exist right now, Pirate Warrior may be the easiest to counter. Speaking of which, the next most popular deck, Odd Questline Hunter, has a solid matchup against Pirate Warrior with a wide range of defensive options, but it's also got a great matchup against most decks in general, thanks to its own power spike on the back of Defend the Dwarven District and Tavish, Master Marksman. The final 2 decks, Reno Evenlock and Even Warlock, are similar in that they both are Warlock decks with Gen Greymane, but they're very different in terms of deck construction and playstyle. With access to duplicates, Even Warlock is able to more consistently land big threats early and draw its powerful removal and disruption options, so it has a more consistent early game and faster setups for lethal with Battlegrounds Battlemaster. On the other hand, Reno Evenlock has access to powerful Highlander cards like Zephyrs the Great and Reno Jackson, and it's better prepared to go to the late game with cards like Arcwitch Willow and Blood Reaver Gul'dan. Even Warlock has the edge against Hunters and Mages, while Reno Evenlock has the edge against Aggro and Warlock Mirrors. So of these 4 decks, which one is the best? We have to give the crown to Odd Questline Hunter, since it has the best matchup against the other Tier 1 decks, especially Pirate Warrior. Now, in terms of power level, these decks are light years ahead of the competition. For traditional Wild strategies, it may be possible to beat one of these top decks consistently, but even when you do, you'll still have issues against the rest of the field. Case in point, Celestial Alignment Druid decks like Malygos Druid will have great matchups against Hunter, but struggle against Warrior and Warlock. A similar thing can be said for Ignite Mage, Aggro Priest, and Pillager Rogue, which all have decent enough matchups against at least one of the top decks, but are unfavored as a whole against the meta. These decks still have their allure though, since they're powerful in their own right. These 4 decks occupy Tier 2 and the top of Tier 3, and you'll definitely see them from time to time. As for the rest of the meta, it's a mix of previous powerhouses that lost their ground after recent nerfs and trends, and unrefined archetypes that didn't gain much traction in United in Stormwind. This includes decks like Darkglare Warlock, Secret Mage, Murloc Shaman, Hand Buff Paladin, and Big Priest. These decks still exist and can still find ways to win, so don't let them take you off guard. Is there a unicorn meta breaker waiting in the wings to save us from all the Warriors, Hunters, and Warlocks? If there is, we haven't found it yet, and we don't expect it to appear before the new mini-set. Speaking of which, as of this report, the mini-set is still unannounced, but the announcement should be just around the corner, and we expect the mini-set to have already been released by the time our next report goes live. Big potential for change is just around the corner, so you only have a limited time left to climb in this meta before Wild gets flipped upside down once again. Be sure to check out all the details in our full report over at tempostorm.com, and as always, thank you for watching.